So I'm here today with Brenda Johnson, and she happens to be down here in Las Vegas in our offices, all the way down from Winnipeg, Manitoba. And she has an amazingly interesting past, and her whole life has basically been revolutionized by the enzymes and what this has all done in the course of a little bit over 4 years now. Just a little bit over 4 years. And it's really a privilege to be able to have you here in our offices. And so I thought it'd be good to do a little video here and maybe share your story. So back in December 2012, from what I know, and I'm going to sort of lead us into this and then you just take it over, because I really want it to be your recollections, your memories, things that are important to you. So little Bella, something happened. She came up paralyzed, she couldn't walk. I've seen the video. She's like a rag doll. Your heart's broken. You have, what was your, I mean, obviously you probably went to a vet. You probably want to try to get her help.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Well, what happened there?
She chased after a cat. She went to go chase off after a cat, and almost instantly something went wrong. And she started running around in circles, screaming. And so when my husband and I got to her, when he picked her up, she was completely in half. So we knew, right, that there was something very, very wrong. So of course these things always happen in the middle of the night, so off to the emergency vet we go, and to find out that she probably had a disease which is called intervertebral disc disease, or known as IVDD. Now, we'd always known there was something a little bit off about her since she had been a puppy. There was things that she, if you picked her up a certain way or touched her the wrong way, she would scream. But we did have her always checked out, but the vets were always looking up in the shoulders, the neck area, never realizing it could be something further down along the back.
Okay.
So it was at the vet then that they said that, yeah, definitely she has intervertebral disc disease, but whether she suffered an embolism or had a disc had ruptured, we had no way of knowing, short of sending her to Saskatoon, which was the province next door to us, or down to Minneapolis for an MRI. And that was just ridiculous.
And this is in the middle of winter already,
Yes.
so it's like December in
1st,
Manitoba,
yeah.
so it's like crazy cold and a lot of snow probably on the ground. So, and I would imagine quite expensive too.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And
it was minimal.
no actual promise that this is going to do anything other than
That's true.
identify that this is an injury.
Yeah,
basically.
$4,000 is what we were told that,
Wow.
you know, and that didn't include her stay, my stay, you know, getting down there, doing, you know, the treatment afterwards, that was it. And no guarantees, right?
Okay.
So we
So
had
pretty
nothing.
devastating news, because I mean you're a stay-at-home mom, you've got 3 children, your husband's working quite a bit. You have this huge bill, you've got a dog that's broken. What does that do for you? I mean, it had to be crushing.
Well, it was, because not only did I not really understand what had truly happened, my 3 kids didn't know either, right? How do you explain to 3 children, our dog is paralyzed? They've never seen anything like that before, right? So even just saying Bella can't walk, in their minds, they couldn't, they couldn't see what that actually truly meant. So we left her at the vet. And that's all we could really do, and leave her and hope to see if anything would change. But she did have deep pain sensation, which means that, you know, if they touched her in between the paws, she felt that, or pinched on the edge of the tail, she would respond.
So there
to
wasn't
that.
total loss of all feeling, it was just a paralysis in its
Yes,
head.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But she didn't have any bathroom functions at all, nothing, none of that was working. So, yeah, we left her there, and she spent her first night there. And nothing changed, of course, right? And you're always waiting for the phone to ring that they're going to say, oh my gosh, you know, she's gotten up and walking, but yet, with what we've seen, there was no way that was, you know, was even a possibility.
At that point. So, I mean, I know we've spoken many times, and I know your story, and I know your passion, but that basically, this scenario has led you to, I guess, go online, or pray, or something, or all of the above. How did that play out?
The second night that Bella was at the vet, my husband was working, because he works for our hydro company, and it always is whenever something goes wrong, he's always on call, and I'm left there by myself. But I went outside with our other dog, Nico. We had 2 dogs. We had Bella and Nico. And I went outside with Nico, and it was the middle of the night, and I hadn't been sleeping, I wasn't eating, my whole body was constantly just vibrating, because you're scared, right? The fear you feel is undescribable. I can't explain it. But I was outside with Nico, and I was standing on the sidewalk, and he's going and doing his business, and it was a clear, cloudy night, and I just looked up at the stars, and I pleaded, show me the way. Show me the way, because I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Because everybody is telling me what I should do, right? Don't make her suffer, do the right thing, you know. Everybody knew what I was supposed to do, but except with me, I felt I needed help, and that's why I did. Show me the way. So right after that, I went back inside the house, and I grabbed my iPad, and I sat down on the couch, grabbed my iPad, opened up Safari, and there in front of me was www.enzymes.com, opened to the paralysis page. I didn't search it, I didn't Google it, I didn't look for anything but show me the way. Right? So I started watching and listening and reading all these testimonials, and I'm just bawling, right? Because like, oh my gosh, it's going to work for Bella. And, you know, the kids were there, and, you know, they thought too, like, yeah, mom, we got something. My husband comes home from work finally, and I was so excited to say to him, like, Daryl, you got to come and look at this. And by now I had already ordered it, right? I wasn't going to wait. I said to Daryl, I said, you got to come and check this stuff out. And he's just kind of like, you know. And he says, like, they're there, dear. You know,
right.
I know you've got.
Well, it's a pretty hopeless situation.
It is.
I mean,
it is.
It's the average person would think you're hoping against hope. This is a fool's errand. There's no way that this is ever going to be. You know, there's no recovery from this. Of course, we know differently. We've seen too many cases in the past, but this is all new to you. All brand new. Some company you find online. Is this really true, or are they just making this up to sell stuff? So,
well, it sounded too good to be true, right? It did, and that's why Daryl was my
get that
biggest.
a lot.
Yeah,
We do.
so well, I do too, right? I still do too. Daryl, he was the biggest skeptic of all. That's why he said, "They're there, dear. Mark my words. You know, like you've got a big heart, but that dog's never going to walk again. There's no way." Because she was folded in half. Her whole body was completely folded in half, but. I had hope. For me, it was, there had to be a reason, right? I just believed. I knew that somewhere, somehow, this had to work out. Because I've always been raised with the thinking of there will be joy in my sorrow someday. And, you know, I sat there on that couch and thought, how can there be joy in this sorrow, right? How can anything good ever come of this? Of course, little did I know at that moment of what it would be. But so they allowed me to bring Bella home from the vet if I agreed to kennel rest her for 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay. In other words, that means keep her in a box, keep her immobilized, don't move for 6 to 8 weeks.
Just keep her in there.
Okay. That's what they said.
That's what the vet said, yeah.
Okay.
So, but fortunately for us, the next day after we brought her home, so she was at the vet for just over 36 hours. When we got her home, the next day we actually had an appointment with a natural healing vet. And she told us right off the hop, she said, do not confine her, the damage is done. We want to keep the strong parts strong, and that makes sense because she could still use her front of her body. If we left her in a box, that means even that would begin to atrophy.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Got it.
So, but she always had been kennel shy too, so she didn't, it freaked her out more being in the kennel, so we just let her come out. So I learned some things about doing some at-home therapy on her, you know, doing tail tugs and, you know, working with her legs and manipulating to have her body, like when she was laying down, you know, the legs are all sprawled out wherever, but we always would go and adjust her and tuck her legs back in underneath her so that if she ever did want to try to get up, her body was in that position that would allow her, you know, to send the signal to the brain to start working the way it was.
Right. You said she still had the feelings, still a little bit on the toes, on the tip of the tail.
But if we stood her up, there was absolutely nothing. You know, like there was nothing in that back end. She couldn't even hold herself for a second or two. It just completely gave away. So, but anyway, so we fast forward to 5 days later. I get the enzymes, and I had done the granules and the treats, and of course at that time I had no idea what this stuff was all about and what it was going to do, so I was kind of, you know, we'll give her both, right? And so that was day 5, and then day by day by day by day, she started getting better. And whether it was that when we would hold her up to stand, that she would stand for like 2 seconds or 3 seconds, just a little bit of strength,
yes, of improvement, a little bit incrementally day by day.
Every day.
Okay.
So I think we were in about 5 days or so when we stopped all of her meds, all her pain meds, everything, because I knew now that the enzymes were kicking in for her. So I didn't want to keep having those going into her body, and I guess maybe kind of counteracting each other too. So yeah, day 5 and then day 6, and she started with the little bit of the hip wag. You know, like when her hips started moving, that's
Okay.
when we really knew it was starting to come together. And then 9 days later, she took her first steps. First steps, she came walking around our coffee table in the living room, and just out she came, and it was like, right?
I have to ask, was Daryl there when that happened?
Yes.
He was?
Yes, yes.
Did you make him eat his words?
Yes. Many times over,
Okay.
I've made him eat his
That's
words.
all right.
Yes.
He's a good guy.
Yes. So, and that's, and it just got better and better and better from there.
So it starts with Bella. You begin to see, I mean, really almost like a miracle unfold before your eyes with the dog. At any point, and I know what the answer is, but at any point did you say, if this stuff, these enzymes, this live food nutrition, this stuff that I'm giving my dog, can do this for a dog, what can it do for me? What can it do for my husband? What can it do for the kids? What can it do for people that we know that are having their own troubles?
Exactly. Well, when we saw what it did for Bella, I had a senior dog and a senior cat also. They both had cloudy eyes. They were arthritic. And so we thought, well, if this is what it's doing for Bella, let's give it to Nico and Gabby too. And all of a sudden I had a puppy and a kitten back on my hands again, right? They were chasing each other around the house like they used to when they were younger. And that's when we went, okay, if it can do that for them, and knowing that the snake oil theory doesn't apply because they don't know psychologically that they're getting something different, right?
Right.
So if it can do that for them, what can it do for me? And that's Bella becoming paralyzed literally saved my life.
Well,
Literally.
that we're going to touch on another time. But so now, as time went on, let's go back to Bella here. She was taking first steps, and we've seen the video. And maybe if anyone else has seen this video, you may have seen Bella's video, and hopefully we'll have a link to it somewhere wherever this is being shown, because it's really a remarkable thing. And something must have told you to record this because you were taking video from the very first day.
Constantly.
I mean,
we
you
had
like
everything.
very first day, and then you know you had updates, or you had the whole
Every
progression.
day. I
going
did.
through
I mean,
months.
everything we got it from the first time she discovered, because her paralysis had been more on her left side of her body. That was the weakest part of her body from that paralysis. And the first time she discovered that left leg and looked at it and went to go scratch, I had that too. You know, like we got everything the first time.
You know, so many people are trying to help their dogs prevent scratching, but isn't that a blessing when they can't scratch?
Yeah.
And then suddenly they can reach that leg up there and reach places again after it's been basically dead
Gone.
and lifeless, and now the limbs are starting to come back. And they always come back with positive statements about, you know, the time that you spent on the phone with them, and you kind of think beyond the box. You always think outside the
very
box,
outside the box, yeah.
to try to come around with some other suggestions that they may try to help with their situation. It's always been very, and always a good outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So, thanks again.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.